Hi, okay, quick catch up. Here we have the NA39 Airfix Buccaneer and the Matchbox Buccaneer. Decals done. The Airfix one obviously is a lot plainer, a lot less decals. That's just the box scheme. Now, interestingly, you see the misalignment of the red dot in the decals, which extends to everywhere. But in the theme of sort of 70s stuff, you know, if you were a kid and this is the decals you got, well, then that's what you put on. And for an unpainted model, that doesn't look, it's, I mean, it hardly matters. This one's a little bit better. Now, remember I said these decals were, they had the paper really stuck on. So it turns out as I cut these up and put them into water, it seems the decals had at some stage got something spilled on them, quite possibly glue or something. It certainly wasn't just water, because the paper was not saturating. And this was a huge job to actually get those decals to release from the paper. I had to leave it for about 10 times longer than usual. On the Airfix one, those decals were off in 15-20 seconds. Here we're talking 5 minutes plus per little wetted section of decals. And that paper then, of course, did not come off like I said. It was actually a huge job, but not a single decal broke. As opposed to old Tamiya decals, which are absolutely sort of, you know, they disintegrate, they crack, they're brittle. So these very old Matchbox decals actually did amazingly well, considering all that had happened to them. Anyway, there we go. Very happy with that for a extremely simple model. I did glue that on, so that's not going to fall off. This part can, of course, come off, but it's quite a stable sort of thing. So there you can adjust this to any angle on your display. The Airfix one is a little bit less, you know, it's all fine and well, but if you tilt this over, it can very easily fall off. I would do the Matchbox one again. Now I have to do the Airfix one again because I still have another one, and I am going to paint it. I would do that again. But coming up then, I have one of the new Airfix Buccaneers. New actually. I'm not sure. I'll show you the box sometime. Okay, anyway, that's enough of that. So I looked up this Lockheed Vega. I did a little bit of research on it, and actually it's a very, very amazing aircraft. I didn't really realize that. For 1928, was it? 1928? This could have been, you know, almost the Ferrari of the skies at that stage. Probably the #1 monoplane aircraft, non-military. A very, very impressive aircraft. And so, yes, I also had a look at a video where the guys that Kermit Weeks has got building his a reproduction, very, very high quality. If you go on YouTube, you can look that up. The interior woodwork, very, very impressive. This thing came, well, I don't know if all of them came like that, but with a typewriter built onto the floor, a typewriter attached to the floor as sort of standard equipment. Can you imagine that? The pilot had to climb through a very awkward door maneuvering thing to get from the cabin into the cockpit position and then close that behind. So once you were there, that was it. You were not going back through to the cabin, I don't think, during flight at all. So I'm actually so impressed with that. I wish I could find a high quality kit of this thing. But new inspiration to build it well. Oh, so I did see that that section there. They had a that they showed the wings at some stage, which is still at Kermit Weeks's place. It's not with the guys that are building it, and that is just a wood blank off there against the spar, so that's very easy to reproduce there. There's the engine done. I've just done that dry brushing. So that is on, normally I do use matte black. I think this one was number 85, which is, I think, a satin black umbrel. I did want to just say that that was done with this acrylic Games Workshop old paint. They don't even bottle it like this anymore. This is a for the war game figures or and vehicles and so on. I use this old brush. You know, keep your old brushes. Make sure that you've got the most of it off. Don't dip it in. Just touch it. I mix it a little bit. Just touch a bit on there. But what you want is that it must barely look like that. So you're wiping it off so that there's only a little bit left. And when I do this, I usually start on an area which you're not going to see. So I start right on the sides here, almost on the back. You could even start right near the back. And I'm just making sure about how much silver comes off. And I ensure that if there's too much silver that's going to come off, it comes off in the area where I'm not seeing it. And by the time I'm getting to the front, and I'm going very softly, soft movements over everything. You can do it multiple times. And the brush is virtually dry by that point, and you don't ever put any more on. I mean, mostly not. And while you can see that those con rods are not an ideal molding, the engine looks quite fine for the front of that model. I thought I will just show you that quickly. If you haven't got used to dry brushing, I do recommend it. So what engine is that? It is from this, which is one that I'm deciding to slap together. This is not anything that I've ever thought was a pretty aircraft, but one of those models that I just thought, what the hell, let's just get it and build it. Not a difficult one. The F11 Tiger. So this that engine gets a very long tailpipe. So I'll do the same thing to this. I'll just dry brush. I'll paint it black, or I'll see what I do. I'll maybe do something slightly more interesting than just that. But keep in mind that honestly you're going to see nothing. So the only thing you don't want to see is a white engine on the inside there. You've got that tail piece, which then the tailpipe which fits on there. But that's the big thing, is when you look down the tail, you are in fact going to see everything down there. So that does need to be painted pretty well. Now I just want to show you on this as well. I did in fact paint the back of that, and the reason that I do that is just to ensure that you don't get any sort of light coming through there. Now I mean it's overkill, because honestly what light are you ever going to get coming through on the inside of there? But it's sort of just a solidity aspect. I'm already sitting there with the airbrush. I just give it a little bit of black on the inside there. And I would have to definitely do the same on this one. So while I'll have to spray on the inside some metal color or just black. And I would in any case be painting the outside, but the important thing is paint both sides. Now I did not paint on the inside there, and you are in fact going to be able to see that. So what I might do is put a piece over there that looks like engine outlet, because I mean obviously it's not open. I'll look for something interesting to put on the end there, and it's a little bit of a pity to actually cover up almost all of that, so you can see a little bit through the intakes. In fact, you probably see a bit of the fuselage as well, which you shouldn't see, but I'm not going to do any extra detailing on this. So I will also have to paint the interior of that completely, I don't know, some mid-grey or something. Okay, I wanted to quickly just say something about this. So I sprayed the inside of these. Now when you get a little bit of overspray like that, and especially since this Lockheed Vega is a white exterior color, don't leave yourself this contrasting color to overspray. Even that little bit of black will really be annoying. It's very easy to get that off. Just make sure that when you're spraying a nice bright color, that you don't have these black edges that you have to get rid of. So I will be sanding those edges, obviously, because you can't paint on paint. You can't glue on paint. The engine, yep, the engine has to go in. Seats on those little rectangular bits that you can see there. Have to put that engine in before I glue that together. Then I have to sort of close it up so that no fuselage spraying goes onto the engine. Now I did want to say something about this wing and this canopy piece, which I've got fitting quite nicely there, but as I said, and I often do this, I haven't test fitted it adequately to the fuselage. I did have to cut that one down a little bit because the wing was not seating quite well enough there. So let's just see what this looks like, because as Murphy would have it, I suspect that the wing is not going to be able to get on in such a way that the canopy is fitting and the wing is fitting and the canopy is fitting to the wing. So as I can see there, yes, I'm correct. There is a, if I hold this upside down and you see, there's at least a whole millimeter gap. Yeah, it looks, well, it's not perfect. There is a little bit of a gap there, which means that what actually needs to happen is I need to sit there and scrape that so that this canopy goes a little bit higher. Now that top piece, that house looking shape as they call it, slides back, so you can actually put your head out of the top of this, and that piece slides on rails, and you can just see the rail. And it's just, there's a little piece of rail over there and there. You can slide that back onto the wing. So I've got to make sure that this fits a little bit higher into the wing. I've got to put that blank off in such a way that it doesn't interfere with that either. I've got to paint those canopy frames. And this will have to go on before, because it's sort of, it seats, everything seats together. So I can't leave the canopy off for later. It won't make it in there. Same story with that. Got to clean those edges for painting. I might spray that with a little bit of a toned down, but it's not the harshest. I'm actually fairly happy with that. The pilot figure that they give is very low quality. I'm not going to use that fellow. So yeah, I would really like a good model of that. Very significant aircraft, that Vega. So this Tiger, nice decals. Color scheme is a bit boring. Well, the box art is absolutely boring. But do I have another plan? Not really, unless I just do an all-metal aircraft, just to be slightly more interesting. So I haven't quite made up my mind. But this is certainly not an aircraft that I'm interested in being historically correct. I'm just building it for the interest, and I'll put on the correct decals, but not necessarily in the correct scheme. The seat, fairly simple. With the dry brushing, so I wouldn't do this black. I'll do it maybe a sort of an olive green and give it a bit of dry brushing and a bit of wash. I'll show you that as that develops. So there's not a whole lot to that. I must just remember to use weight in the nose, and I do have this box of sinkers, different size sinkers, which are actually pretty nice. Just got that recently, someone's old stash collection. Oh, I was going to say, yeah, make yourself a whole bunch of these out of the stretched sprue for sliding on different thicknesses of things. Always very handy for painting. And then I put them onto the peg like that. That one's not quite the ideal size, but you get the point. Oh, do you notice how thick that canopy plastic is? That is enormously thick, but there's no problem, just, you know, in fitting with the age of the kit and the quality of the kit, just go with it and do it. So that's also going back to that thing that I was saying, you know, the windows are not flush with the outside. So you're already sitting with a little bit of an imperfection in the kit, in that the windows are all inside surface level. It's not the highest of detail kits. I did a little bit of filling there. There was a bit of sink mark due to all of that extra plastic on that they've put there. Whenever there's thicker plastic somewhere, you know there's going to be a sink mark. So I didn't fill it on that side. You won't, I don't think you'll see it, no. But a very nice aircraft. Okay, so then in fitting with that age and that style, I decided to bring this one out. Now I've got two of these, a Ravel and I can't remember what the other one was. Both pretty simple kits. And I have been meaning to slap one together. It's honestly not not difficult or advanced by any means. The decals are quite nice on this one because they give that I can't remember what's the name of that effect again. I keep forgetting that. Where they use that round thing to make that pattern on the aluminium. So that's not a bad. That's probably the better decal set of the two kits. Quite a nice big wing. Now, it certainly looks like there's anything but a straight wing there, but if you, rather than de-warping that, because it's a very gentle flow, if you hold it while you're gluing it, and give it a little bit of opposite pressure, that should be okay. So I'm thinking of doing this one gradually. Does have engine detail. Pilot figure is again very simple, possibly usable. So that one will also get a little bit of attention as we go. And that'll be a very nice one to put next to the Lockheed Vega. Did I tell you what year this was? I forgot. 1919. I will go and read up a little bit, but it appears that it was 1927 that he flew. Charles Lindbergh did his record, which makes it exactly, if I'm not mistaken, the same year as that Vega. Okay, what else have I got to cover? No, so I will show you the next Buccaneer, which is 10 times better than both of those combined. So I'm getting back into it, yep. I'm not going to rush the Vega because the external finish, the exterior finish is the thing that really makes this model. Oh, and incidentally, the video of the guys building Kermit Week's Vega, as they started their video, they have this model on the table there in exactly the scheme of this Winnie May, which is quite cool to see. Okay, that's it for today. Happy modeling. Cheers.